There's a voice inside your head. You know the one. The voice that speaks up right after you do something well and finds the one thing you got wrong. The voice that replays the awkward thing you said at 2 a.m. years later. The voice that watches you in the mirror and quietly decides you're not quite enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful, not disciplined, not lovable enough. And somewhere under all of it, there's a thought most of us never say out loud. What is wrong with me? Why can't I just feel like I'm enough? Here's the truth. You are not broken. That voice is not a flaw in your character. It is one of the oldest survival tools your species ever built. And the reason it hurts this much, the reason not good enough can feel like a wound you carry everywhere, is the same reason your ancestors stayed alive. Let me show you what that voice actually is and why it will not shut up. We treat low self-worth like a personal defect, a weakness, something to fix with a motivational quote, a new outfit, one more achievement. But the feeling of not being enough is not a modern insecurity. It's one of the oldest pieces of software running inside you. For over 300,000 years, every one of your ancestors lived and died inside a tiny group of people. No cities, no strangers, no way to start over somewhere else. Just 20, maybe 50 faces that were, quite literally, your entire world. And in that world, the single most dangerous thing that could happen to you was not a predator. It was being cast out, losing your standing, becoming the one the group decided it no longer needed. Because a human alone on the ancient savannah was a dead human. So your brain grew a monitor, a quiet, tireless system whose only job was to answer one question every single day. Am I still valued enough to keep? That monitor never turned off. You're hearing it right now. So let's start where the voice actually lives, not in your personality, in your brain. The feeling is real. Psychologists have a name for the deepest human drive most people underestimate. In 1995, Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary called it the need to belong. And they argued it isn't a preference. It's a need as basic as food or safety. And to protect something that important, evolution doesn't rely on hope. It builds an alarm. Mark Leary spent years testing an idea he called the sociometer. The theory is simple and a little unsettling. Your self-esteem is not really a measure of how good you are. It's a gauge, an internal gauge of how accepted, how valued, how safe you are inside your group. When that gauge reads high, you feel confident, worthy, at ease. When it drops, you feel that sinking ache of not being enough. Low self-worth isn't the problem. It's the warning light. It's the needle swinging toward a reading your ancestors could die from. You are slipping. The group may be letting you go. And it gets more physical than that. In 2010, a researcher named Olivia Long put people in a brain scanner and had them do two things: criticize themselves and reassure themselves. When they turned on the inner critic, the scan lit up regions tied to error detection and behavioral inhibition. The same machinery your brain uses to catch a mistake before it costs you. Think about what that means. Your brain doesn't file, "I'm not good enough," as an opinion. It files it as an error to be corrected, a threat to be managed. And there's more. The neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger showed that social rejection activates the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the exact same region that registers physical pain. Being judged, being excluded, feeling worthless in front of others. Your nervous system processes it in the same place as a broken bone. So when they tell you it's all in your head, they're right. It's in your head the way a fire alarm is in your house. The pain is real. The question is, why would evolution build something this cruel? Why make you your own harshest judge? To understand that, you have to do the math of an ancient life. For most of human history, you lived in a band of maybe 25 to 50 people. That was everyone. Everyone who could feed you, protect you, share their fire, help raise your children. And every one of those people was making a quiet, constant calculation about you. Is this person worth keeping around? Do they pull their weight? Can we trust them? Because the band had limits. Food was finite, protection was finite. A member who took more than they gave, who angered the wrong people, who fell out of favor, that member was a risk. And a group under pressure will, eventually, let a risk go. Exile wasn't a dramatic banishment. It was quieter than that. Fewer invitations, turned backs, being the last one chosen, then not chosen at all. And for a lone human, that slow social death became a real one. Cold, hunger, predators, no one to watch you sleep. So evolution did something ruthless and brilliant. It didn't wait for the group to reject you. It put the group's judgment inside your own head. It built a critic that would notice your flaws first, before anyone else could, and nag you to fix them, hide them, apologize for them, work harder. The ancestors who had that nagging voice adjusted their behavior, kept their place, and survived to have children. The ones who felt perfectly, serenely good enough no matter how they behaved, they didn't read the room. They didn't correct course, and the group moved on without them. So the ache of not enough is not your enemy. It's the inherited voice of 30 people you needed, a leash that kept our ancestors close to the tribe that kept them alive. But here's the part most people never hear. This anxiety about rank is far, far older than you. It's older than words. Go to the savannah and watch a troop of baboons. The neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky spent decades doing exactly that. And what he found in their blood tells you something about the voice in your head. The baboons, low in the hierarchy, the ones constantly watched, challenged, reminded of their place, carried chronically higher levels of stress hormones in their bodies. Their rank was quite literally under their skin. Being low in the group wasn't just unpleasant, it was slowly, biologically corrosive. Status, it turns out, is not a human invention. It runs through nearly every social animal on Earth. Who eats first? Who is groomed? Who is tolerated? Who is pushed to the edge? Your species just did something no other animal did. We took that ancient rank anxiety and gave it language. We turned the felt sense of "I'm slipping" into words, into a narrator. And here's the quiet tragedy of how that narrator learns to speak. A newborn cannot judge itself. The critic has no voice yet. It gets its voice from the outside, from the tones and faces and words of the people who raised you and the tribe around you. The disappointed sigh, the comparison to a sibling, the praise that only ever came for achievement. Over years, that outside chorus is swallowed whole and becomes an inside voice. So when you finally hear yourself think, "You're not good enough," listen closely. That voice is often not even yours. It's an echo of people who are long gone, in a world that no longer exists, still running in the only place it was ever stored. Which brings us to the question we started with. Our ancestors carried this same monitor, this same rank anxiety, this same fear of not being enough. So why didn't it crush them the way it crushes us? The answer is the most important difference between them and us. And it comes down to three things they never had to think about, and almost all of us have lost. First, they belonged before they performed. In a band of 30, you were not auditioning for your place. You were born into it. You had a role, a name, a function the moment you arrived. The tracker, the keeper of the fire, the one who knew the plants, the one who calmed the children. Your worth wasn't a verdict you had to keep earning. It was a fact you were handed. The critic still whispered, "Do better, don't slip." But underneath it was solid ground. These people are mine, and I am theirs, no matter what. Second, they were measured against 30 people, not 3 billion. Your ancestors' sociometer compared them to the handful of humans they actually knew. And in a group that small, you didn't have to be the best at anything. You just had to be useful. Needed. One irreplaceable thread in a small, tight net. There was no one richer, funnier, more beautiful, more successful, scrolling endlessly past their eyes at midnight. The comparison was small and human and winnable. Third, they were truly seen. The people around you had known you your entire life. They saw you at your worst and stayed. They knew your flaws by heart and kept you anyway. To be fully known and still fully kept, that is the exact thing the sociometer is starving for. It was fed constantly by faces that reflected you back and said, without words, "You are one of us." So picture their answer to "not good enough" fully. Belonging first, improving second. Measured against 30, not millions. Known completely and kept regardless. The critic was still there, it never left. But it whispered into a life that constantly answered it. You are enough. You are ours. You are safe. Now look at how we do it. Today, you carry the exact same monitor, the same gauge, the same ancient voice asking all day long, am I still valued enough to keep? But everything that used to answer it, gently, constantly, is gone. In 1954, a psychologist named Leon Festinger noticed something simple about humans. When we have no objective way to know our own worth, we measure it by comparing ourselves to other people. For 300,000 years, that meant comparing yourself to about 30 faces you knew. Now, you wake up and your sociometer, a gauge built for a village, is aimed at the entire planet at once. Every scroll is a comparison. The richest, the most beautiful, the most successful, the most effortlessly happy people alive, all filtered, all curated, all delivered to you before you've even gotten out of bed. The gauge was never designed to survive that, so the needle slams to the floor and stays there. You are not comparing yourself to your tribe. You are comparing your unedited insides to a billion people's edited outsides and calling the gap a personal failure. And so we do the one thing no ancestor of yours ever had to do. We try to earn a sense of belonging that used to simply be given. We chase the promotion, the body, the numbers, the likes, little digital nods from strangers, a broken proxy for the tribe that used to know our names. And it never fills the gauge, because a like is not being seen. A follower is not a band that would die for you. We kept the ancient hunger to be valued, and we dismantled the village that was the only thing that could ever feed it. And then we wonder why we always feel a little bit not enough. It's not that something is wrong with you. It's that you're running village software in a world of billions, alone. So the next time it comes, the voice in the mirror, the 2 a.m. replay, the quiet certainty that you're just not quite enough, I want you to remember what you're actually hearing. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not uniquely flawed. You are hearing a survival system that is older than cities, older than language, older than your name. A system that judges you on purpose, because for 300,000 years, the people who watched their standing stayed inside the group that kept them alive, and the ones who didn't make it. Your mind isn't malfunctioning. It's doing the exact thing it was built to do. It's scanning the horizon for any sign that your people might let you go. The problem was never that you're not enough. The problem is that the gauge is pointed at the wrong world. A world of billions of strangers it was never, ever meant to measure you against. You were built for a village. You were handed a feed. That voice that says you're not good enough is not the truth about you. It's the sound of an ancient, faithful part of you, still standing guard over a fire that went out long ago, still counting the faces around it, and aching that so few of them are there. You don't need to become more. You never did. You just need to be seen by even one person who stays. That's all the gauge was ever really asking for.